Capital and revenue expenditure. Now, capital expenditure is a non-recurring expense which is spent on acquiring non-current assets, whereas revenue expenditures are day-to-day expenses which are completely recurring in nature, that is, they repeat themselves again and again. So when we are talking about capital and revenue expenditures, the first ones, that is the capital expenditures, are non-frequent. They happen once in a blue moon, or they are expenses which are called non-recurring expenses because of the fact that they are used for acquiring non-current assets mostly. Non-current assets have long lives. As a result of that particular reason, once we acquire a non-current asset, we do not need to acquire it again and again. So these capital expenditures are infrequent in nature. But when we are talking about revenue expenditures, as I just told you, that they are frequent in nature, they are going to happen again and again, and they are usually operational expenditures. Now, when we talk about examples of capital expenditures, when we are acquiring non-current assets like building or land, that is what you call as a capital expenditure. You are making an investment. That land is going to stay with you for a very long period of time, and more often than not, you are not going to buy land again and again. Same goes for motor vehicles. Then we have other examples as well, just like buying computers or other equipment. We can also talk about other types of non-current assets as well, where we are basically trying to buy a shop, or we are trying to buy a franchise, we are trying to buy a software, for example, or other examples of acquiring non-current assets may include furniture and fixture. Now, all the expenses that are spent on acquiring non-current assets, which are one-off in nature, they are also capital expenditures. For example, if you buy a car and you install a number plate on it, that number plate is not going to be changed again and again. So that is a capital expenditure as well. A company, a business, when it is going to buy a motor van and it is going to get the name of company painted on the motor van, that is also a capital expenditure, because that painting is not going to happen very frequently. It's like once in a lifetime kind of a process. Then after that, we talk about other capital expenditure examples as well. For example, all the legal expenses which are going to be incurred, which are going to be spent when an asset is bought. For example, when you're buying a building, you will have to pay some kind of legal expenses to your lawyer, which are not going to happen again and again. That's once in a lifetime kind of process. So these legal expenses are also going to come under the umbrella of capital expenditures. Now, when we are talking about revenue expenditures, I just told you they are regular in nature, they are operational in nature. So when you're paying rent, when you're paying wages of your employees, when we are talking about expenses like taxes or financial charges, which are sometimes also called interest charges, all these expenses which are basically direct as well as indirect expenses whose scope does not go beyond a particular year, they are called operational expenditures, and they are also going to come under the scope of revenue expenditures. Thank you very much.